Wicked was directed by Jon M and it stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And this movie is based off of the Broadway play of the same name, and I believe this is the prequel to the 1939 movie of The Wizard of Oz. So in this movie, we have Glinda, played by Ariana Grande, who meets Alphaba, played by Cynthia Erivo, for the first time at Shiz University. And this movie discovers of how they became best friends. And when they became best friends and actual sister figures to each other, and when they meet the wizard for the first time, their friendship gets out of hand, and now we got our movie. Now I'm gonna say this right now. I was really looking forward to this movie after hearing announcements about this movie, after seeing the trailers. After seeing the trailers for this movie, I was like, I did appreciate that the trailers actually keep things very vague of what's going to happen in the movie. So I really appreciate that. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have never watched the Broadway play. Yes, I know, I wish, and I know I'm missing out, but I never even watched the Broadway play or read the book of The Wonderful World of the Wizard of Oz, but like I said, I never watched the play. But however, I did watch the 1939 movie of The Wizard of Oz because back when I was in elementary school as a kid, I have seen the 1939 movie of The Wizard of Oz probably like a couple of times as a kid, but I still watch that movie as an adult because of how much I actually grew up with that movie. And I've been hearing so many good things about this movie. So after seeing the movie for myself, man, oh man, I love this movie. I love the hell out of this movie. Wicked, in my opinion, it's gotta be like one of the best movies I've ever seen all year. And this movie is, in case you can't tell, this movie is also divided to two parts. We have part one for this one, and we have part two. We have Wicked Part 2 coming out next year, November 2025, which I'm really looking forward to. So with that down, let's just talk about the actors and the characters themselves. Starting off with is Ariana Grande as Glinda. Now, Glinda in this movie, she meets Alphaba for the first time. Their chemistry was very strong, and her singing and acting in this movie is on point. I think her singing and acting was really good. And she is she's a popular student at Shiz University. And there are some times where she does get a little bit hyper. So I'm like, yeah, you have to cool down a little bit. I mean, maybe she's just living her best life. So I totally get that. So with that down, I guess that's it. So Ariana Grande is really good in this movie as Glinda. And that's all I can say for Glinda. Next up is Cynthia Erivo as Alphaba. This is way before she became the Wicked Witch of the West. So with Alphaba in this movie, everyone at Shiz University, they're kind of scared of her because she's different because she has green skin. And also she does have powers that she can't control, but I do like the chemistry that she has with Glinda in this movie. So, and Cynthia Erivo, her singing and acting is really good. I think the chemistry and the singing and the acting that she has with Glinda, played by Ariana Grande, is fantastic. And Cynthia Erivo did a wonderful job with her singing and acting as this character. But that's all I can say. So, and Cynthia Erivo is really good in this movie as Alphaba. And that's all I can say for Alphaba. Next up is Jonathan Bailey as Yeoh. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I unpronounce it, that's my apologies. So, Yeoh, they didn't really touch much on him in the trailers. All I can say is he's really good in this movie. I mean, all I know is he's really good in this movie. He does ride his navy blue horse that I'm looking at right now. And I think his singing and acting is really good. He also goes to Shiz University as well. So, and that's all I can say. And Jonathan Bailey is really good as Yeoh, and that's all I can say for Yeoh. Next up is Michelle Yeoh as Madame Marable. Now, Madame Marable wasn't touched much in the trailer, so I'm gonna keep the character very vague. All I can say is, most likely in the trailers, all I know is that she was probably teaching Alphaba something. Maybe she was teaching Alphaba how to control her powers, I think. I can't remember. But that's all I can say. Yeah, and that's all I can say. And Michelle Yeoh is really good in this movie as Madame Marable, and that's all I can say from Madame Marable. And also, her singing is also good in this movie. And last but definitely not least, is Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard, known as the Wizard of Oz. So Jeff Goldblum is one of my favorite casting choices. Like, honestly, I think he's one of my favorite casting choices for this role. So they didn't really touch much on him in the trailers, but all I can say is I really liked his character. So the wizard in this movie, he was met by both Glinda and Alphaba for the first time, and I really like his green outfit that he wears. The green outfit that he wears, I really like this. I really like the outfit that he wears, the full green dress up outfit that he's wearing right now. It looks pretty cool, and that's all I can say for the character. And Jeff Goldblum is really good as the Wizard of Oz, and that's all I can say for the Wizard. And that's it for the actors and the characters themselves. So let's talk about how incredible the set design in this movie is good. Now, there's some set designs in this movie that's basically all CGI, and there's some, like, most of it is just basically realistic. And the setting in this movie, I love it. I think the setting in this movie and the way that they have Emerald City brings me back to my childhood. When I looked at Emerald City, I was just like, now y'all bringing me back to that 1939 movie as a kid. Because I feel like a kid again watching that 1939 movie the way I look at Emerald City, because the city is all green, which is pretty cool. And the way that Shiz University, I think the way they have Shiz University looks magnificent. I think the school design, whoever designed this, was very smart and did a wonderful job with this setting. The setting in this movie is wonderful. And most of the CGI in this movie, I think most of the CGI that's actually felt more realistic and mostly finished. And I think there was like one part of the visual effects that could have been finished a little bit. I might have missed something, but the visual effects is wonderful. The editing in this movie I don't see the editing feeling rushed. Like, even though this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, even though the movie's like 2 hours and 40 minutes long, the movie doesn't really rush you to get to the point of the movie. They actually the editing actually feels like it slows down the pacing, which is good. And the pacing in this movie is really good. Now, for the musical parts of the movie, the musical numbers in this movie, I love. One of my favorite songs in this movie is most likely Defying Gravity. That was one of my favorite songs. After hearing that from the soundtrack of this movie, I couldn't stop listening to that song over and over and over of how much I love that song from both Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And the way they have that song written down was really good. I did like Defying Gravity because I think it's one of my favorite songs that I could not stop listening to. So that's all I can say. And the music score for this movie, I feel like there's some, like, the music score for this movie was really cool. I think there was like one music score that I was like, y'all bringing me back to the 1939 movie. That was pretty awesome. And the soundtrack, I don't really talk about soundtracks in my reviews, which I usually do forget, but the soundtrack in this movie, I love the soundtrack, the way not only they have the music scores, but also has the great singing of most of the actors from the movie, which I really, really like. So I really like the soundtrack for both the music score and the movie. I'm sorry, and the music score for I do like the music score for the movie and the singing for this movie. That's the way they handle it for the soundtrack of this movie. So that's it. And for the rest of this movie, I think that pretty much wraps it up for Wicked. Now, like I said, part 2 is coming out next year. If you're excited for part 2, I think I'm excited for part 2. But like I said, I've never watched the Broadway play. I really wish I watched the Broadway play, but even though I haven't. But are you excited for part 2 of Wicked? If you are, I am too, because I'm really looking forward to part 2 of how they left things off. So for the rest of this movie, I guess that pretty much wraps it up for Wicked. So Have you seen the movie? Have you not seen the movie? If you have seen it, what did you think of it? Did you like it or did you didn't like it? But one thing I forgot to talk about, there's some times where the movie does get a bit dark. Sometimes, which I can understand the some like one or two flashbacks of the movie where sometimes the movie does get a little bit over dramatic, or sometimes where things get a little bit dark. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I kind of was expecting this and not, but overall, I guess that overall the movie was really good. That's all I can say. So with that down, Wicked is one of the best movies of the year. Well, mostly Wicked Part 1 is one of the best movies of 2024. Now, 2025, I can't wait for Part 2. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this review for Wicked Part 1, or you could just call it Wicked, whatever, but that's all I can say for Wicked. And there's nothing much else to say, so be sure to like, subscribe, put notification bell, follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see you on my next video, and thank you for watching.